All right, guys, we're live here, different time today, Thursday. It's about 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. here in Japan. And hello, Billy Zig in Australia. Say hello to everyone.
Hi there, Eddie, and hey everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, it's a pleasure, man, and an honor for me. So nice being able to talk about it. And some things we're going to be focused on flat Earth today because I believe flat Earth is the most important truth that has ever, surfaced and has opened so many eyes. And once you realize the biggest lie of all, which is the flat Earth, they've been hiding from us. You see the all other lies. It's easier for us to see all the other lies. A couple shout out here. I'm gonna go ahead, Billy, before we get to talk a little bit. I wanna Mike. Hey, Mike Smith. He's from Canada. He's been asking me to display one of his images for several shows, and this since today is my last show. This is serious. All right, shout out to you, Mike Smith in Canada.
Hi, Mark.
Beautiful footage of Sirius by him. Okay, I mean, this is amazing.
That's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Right? So shout out, man. Sorry, I haven't. It's taking me so long to display this image to you, but all right, Billy. We will talk a little bit about flight routes. I don't know if you have seen. I had a Globe pilot here a long time ago, and I watched your show with Eric Dubay, and you were talking about a lot of flat earthers in Brazil. Yeah, it's about 13 million flat earthers, between 11 and 13 million flat earthers in Brazil. And I'm going to explain why today. So when I had a pilot here, I was showing this. This is a U.S. Air Force World War II video explaining Dead Reckoning, which is a flight with no all the equipments they have today. It's just like observation, right? So they had wind along the way, and the aviator, he tells the pilot to correct like 45 degrees to the right, and then another minute, 45 minutes, and that's how they avoid the wind. Okay, everything was manual. So the video is like 40 minutes long, and not 1 minute you will hear the aviator to tell the pilot to adjust for curvature, right? So the Globe pilot, he kind of ran away. He didn't want to talk about this stuff because he depends on equipment, like the whatever equipment they have today, the autopilot.
Exactly, which magically adjusts for the curvature of the Earth. And it's a very good. Sorry, continue on, and I'll keep in mind.
Yeah. Okay, so one reason, there are many reasons like why we have a lot of flat earthers in Brazil. But one of the reason, we have this guy, Professor Afonso. He was a professor at one of the best universities in Brazil. Can't find his channel right now, and he has a PhD in geophysics. Okay, and
Okay.
he became a flat earther, right? And the thing is, uh, he was telling me like, the Amazon. Sometimes they have to clear the forest so some small planes can land, right? So as geophysics, he had to spend a month in the Amazon with a team of guys living with the Indians there, with natives, and they cleared the road, the forest. They landed the plane, and there was the owner of the plane, the pilot, the co-pilot, and the whole team of engineers there. So after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they went to go back, and they had to fly 800 kilometers, and the electronics of the airplane was not working. For some reason, it failed, except the compass. So the pilot said he was not going to fly back. He was not going to dare to fly that airplane back 800 kilometers. But the co-pilot stepped up. He said, "I'll fly this thing." And Professor Afonso, he sat next to the co-pilot, which was used to be the co-pilot's seat, but because the co-pilot took over, since the pilot didn't want to fly the plane, and the Professor Afonso sat next to him, and the whole time they were talking, and he was asking, "How come you're not adjusting for curvature?" He only had the compass, you know, and he'd say, "Well, we calculate like two fingers ahead of the mirror. We know the nose is up, and then when we see the city, we land, and everything was done, man." And he said, "Well, where is the adjustment for curvature? There is no curvature. There is no need to adjust for curvature." You know, so the whole time the pilot flew the plane for 2 hours, I guess, and that's how he became a flat earther.
Right.
And
That's
he has
interesting.
500,000 subscribers.
Wow, really? And I think it's gonna go exponential when the pilots do step up and come out. I think Dave Weiss said he had a group of pilots that were, you know, in the closet, ready to come out, not sure where they are. But when that happens, because a lot of people say, well, why don't pilots, say the earth is flat? They should know. But that's a very good point that you made, because prior to electronic devices that help, a pilot guide the aircraft to its destination, people were flying manually, weren't they? They never had this, the Wright brothers didn't have gyroscopes, or maybe they did have a gyroscope.
No, they
Probably
came.
not in their first. That came later, didn't it?
Yeah, came later.
Yeah, just like the car was so bare when it came out, and then all the instruments came later on, and that's what happened with and now cars, a lot of them can practically drive on their own. But in the early days, not only motor vehicles but aircraft, everything was manual, relied on your senses. Like you said, this guy said, "Oh, hang on, I can do it," because he realized his natural senses were able to guide him to where he made assumptions, just like NASA's document says, that it's a flat, non-rotating Earth, right? And if you do that as a pilot, you'll get to where you want to go. If you start accounting for curvature, you'll be dipping down into the Earth. Or if you don't, you should be technically flying out into space. There can only be one or the other. Or the third option is that you're flying over a flat, level plane, and that's why they call it an aeroplane. But another
Right.
good point that you made, and I took a note, that in regards to the pilot flying using his senses, is during the Falklands War. I've got a video on my channel where the pilot had to go so low to keep away from enemy radar, and it was foggy. He couldn't see anything while he's flying. His instruments had frozen up. Everything was going to hell, right? And he thought, what can I use to guide me? And he went down to the water, he says it, and he flew over the level water because he knew it would keep his plane level. And the pilot says this, and these pilots during critical times like this, right? Your life is on the line. You're going to use your natural senses. You're not going to rely back to an instrument that defies logic. you know.
Exactly,
But yeah,
exactly.
that's excellent with that pilot. 500,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have
Go
for four
team,
hundred
go team.
seventy-two thousand, and he's a flat earther now. I mean, it's just like stories like that, And I did save a couple of images here that I want to share with you. Let me put back my
Excellent.
screen.
But that takes a lot of integrity and honesty to be able to, after analyzing the data, to actually come out and say, yeah, it is
Oh
what it
yeah,
is. It's
it
flat,
is
because
what
a
it
lot of
is.
a lot of them resist it. A lot of them, will do that. But
Yeah.
go on, Eddie. Thanks.
All right, so like the globers think that the layers of atmosphere only works on the globe. No, no, we are flat, and we still have the layers of atmosphere. Okay, and here you see the airplane. They fly the lowest one between 0 to 12 kilometers, and the whole thing is flat. Even here, you have here altitude of 8 kilometers, 10 to 12. You have low pressure, high pressure, but it's still on a flat plane. It doesn't have to be on a ball. And cool air, warm air. Okay, this is how you have the pressure here. So air pressure may remain the same within a distance of 200 miles up to 2,000 miles. So a plane flying from South America or even from Australia to North America, from South America, from Brazil to Canada, if it flies through all this warm temperature here, it maintains the same height for like 1,000 miles. So there's no adjustments while the plane is flying through this area right here. So to say that the airplane is adjusting because of air pressure, man, this is, I mean, a lot of those people, they use their credentials to tell lies. Look at the whole 9/11 stuff, how
Mm,
many technicians, NIST, all that stuff to push a lie, So you know how,
absolutely.
yeah, man.
Absolutely, and there's no doubt about it. When it comes to aircraft, because that's got to be one of the biggest. A plane would have to adjust for curvature. There's just no way out of it. I think that was one of the first things I remember when I saw that. And even though I was going through cognitive dissonance myself, I didn't want the Earth to be flat. When I first heard it, I was like, no way. But then all this stuff came up, like aircrafts would have to adjust for curvature. A plane would have to physically also, when it's coming, we traveling from England to Australia, would have to go under the ball. And that's freaking
Right?
impossible. A
Yeah.
ship, a captain, he would know this is occurring. He would know when the passengers are all sideways on a ball, right? Every glass, everything, and now the level is this way. But ball earthers maintain this logic that level is everything pointing to the center of mass, and level can be on the side of a ball. But when I guess that's non-Euclidean geometry. But when you put it to Euclidean geometry, if you're building a desk, if you're building a driveway, if you're laying the concrete, or doing physical, again, um, real life stuff, then you're not going to account for curvature.
No,
Bridges,
nobody does.
nobody does whatsoever. And that's got to
Nobody
be the
does.
first thing. That's why I called my book The Elusive Curve, because if there's no curve, then there's no ball. Simple as that. And it is rather elusive, because you can go out and think, oh yeah, there is curve, if you don't know everything about what you're seeing, right? If you don't understand the visual perspective, atmospheric conditions, a lot of different factors to take in. You can't just go out there one day and say, oh, look at that. There's no, I can only see so far, because over the next few days, if the weather changes and the conditions change, you'll see a lot further than you can. But refraction, of course, Can I ask you to continue on? Have you got some more? Did I?
Well,
I don't want to keep interrupting you. That's all.
no, no, no. The refraction stuff, I do have a video here. I want to play. Let me find here. Because we don't have, according to this professor, the same medium. If you are in the same medium, you don't have refraction. Like we have refraction when looking at the stars and the sun. That accounts to why sometimes we see like the sun doing some things different. But as far as we are in the same medium, there is no
Absolutely.
refraction.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah. Because when they tested refraction and when they came up with this universal or standard atmospheric standard refractive index, they did it in things like a fish tank and a fish, and they poured sugar, then they'll try with salt and they'll try it with just fresh water. But and that's called an isotropic environment. Everything is equal to distance. That's literally what the word means. And um, our atmosphere is anisotropic. There's a lot of various conditions that change. So refraction is not standard in an anisotropic environment. So whenever they say it's refraction and there's a standard index or formula that can account for that, they can easily just punch that in and go, oh no, you were seen 100 miles away. Let's pump this in. Oh no, it was the curve. It was the object you're seeing was actually refracted up around the curve of the earth. It's just like nonsense. It's like crazy talk, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me play this video here. This
Go for it.
professor explained the refraction here.
Light travels more slowly through a denser medium, so water or glass or any other refracting material, which is transparent obviously, slows down the progress of the light. And if the light, in the case of a lens, has less distance to travel than the light in the middle, then obviously the light in the middle will be slower, and this light will end up going faster, and it will start where it started off going in like so, it ends up coming out like so, because it's got to stay in line, in phase, with the light which has come from the middle. If there's a fish in the water and you look at the fish, you're actually seeing it through a medium which is denser than the air that you're standing in. And what it does is it bends the light. The light comes from the fish, hits the surface, which is where the air-water interface takes place, and it gets bent. So your eye ends up seeing the light. Instead of coming straight back like so, the light comes back and then it's bent and it enters your eye. But your eye thinks, aha, the fish is over there. It's not. The fish is actually down there, but the light reaching your eye is coming in that direction. So you interpret it as if the fish is further back than it actually is. So when you go to spear it with your flounder spear or what have you, you miss it. And that's the principle of refraction.
That is freaking brilliant. You know why? I've got a very large fish tank with like 6 foot, by 2 foot by 2 foot. It's 1,000 liters of water, right? And I've got 2 turtles and goldfish and African cichlids in there. And when I'm standing above to get on a ladder to sort of reach into it, and when I'm trying to pick up a fish, I can't get it. I always miss it because I think I'm seeing the fish, but I'm not seeing it. So I'm like, scoop, no, where's that freaking fish? And even my turtles, when I'm standing looking at them, if I'm standing at the corner of the fish tank, it looks like if the turtles, because I've got 2 turtles, it looks like they're both there because both their heads are there, but it's just refraction. It's causing this illusion in my eye. But it doesn't take me long before I go, oh, the other turtle's over there. I don't have 4 turtles or 3 or whatever, right? So
Right.
that was a brilliant video. Is that on your channel?
Yeah, I uploaded to live stream. I don't have it in my channel. I uploaded to live stream.
Right,
so-
that's a really cool video because it's so simple and even for children to grasp it from that level as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that keep them away from TikTok and all this stupid shit they're going to learn on there, and they can learn,
Exactly.
some real natural science like that and how their
Yeah.
eyes work.
Yeah, that counter the argument that Globers say that when you see a shape that's refraction or whatever, but we are seeing the same medium. So there's no refraction, the same medium. You are at sea level, let's say you are 3 feet or 6 feet on the shore. You see a boat with a P100. The ship is also above the water. It's not inside the water. If it was deep, that would be refraction, but it's the same medium as you are. So there's no
Absolutely.
refraction there.
Absolutely, and yeah. So what they're saying is what a lot of people are saying is what I'm seeing isn't really there. What we're saying is what we see is what we see.
Yeah,
True?
exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of times, because I live near the beach and I'll go to the beach and you have the Fata Morgana effect and it looks like there's this miraging. So I'm seeing the distant, there's a landmass which is about 40 kilometers away from me. And when I view that and I zoom in, I can see a mirrored effect. So I can see, at the top of the mountain here, and it's mirroring the same silhouetting, but it's not refracting around the curve of the Earth. This is a reflection of over the water, because water at that distance is going to create a mirror, and it's only a very wide band, and it doesn't always do that. It's just fascinating, but you got to go out there and keep going out there, and that's what we're doing. What was it? Aristotle said he went out and he saw a boat disappear over the curve of the Earth with his naked eye. What? How many times did you do that? What, just one time? Is that it? We're going constantly.
Yeah.
And we're going with high-tech SLR cameras that are outdoing their lives. And that's where, you don't see globe earthers go to the beach with a friggin' Nikon P900 camera, do you? Or a P1000 or any optical device of their liking, of their choosing. Yeah?
No way. So let me look at it.
It's quite sad, isn't it, Eddie? Like, these guys have been doing it for like 10, battling. A lot of these anti-flat earthers have been doing it for as long as we have, leading up to 10 years. And they still haven't done a physical experiment, whether on ground or even done a high altitude balloon launch. They should have the funding. They should be writing to NASA and getting that money. We won't get that money from NASA, but I'm sure they can.
Yes. When they do, they send fisheye lenses, just like that group of students who sent a balloon. Even the rope, was bent,
I know the rope's bent, and you can see curvature even before they leave the ground. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Just ignore that, everyone. Just ignore those little, trinkets that should be awakening you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes, I'm not talking about the hired ups who really want to hide this information. I'm talking about the regular guys. Like, I do have students here, and we talk about their like math professors or physics professor, and I understand sometimes they have to keep their jobs, so they gotta protect their lives. They have to protect their life.
I don't blame them. Yeah. In a way, I don't blame them, especially if they're, mortgaged up and they've got, debts that are, if they don't keep working, their whole life crumbles. And what's their wife going to say?
Right.
What did you do? And
exactly.
Kids, and the whole family, destroys a legacy, if you like, a whole generation of this hard work they've created. Yeah. So I do understand them. And I hope, as you said, this pilot, 500,000. So when they start seeing that, and just even if they just sit on the fence, even if people just start saying, we don't know. Look, it's not a ball, not quite convinced of flat Earth, but, I don't know. Just say that rather than I'm adamant that the Earth is a spinning ball, because of photos I've seen from space, because that's, that can be easily broken down and, to be false and fake. Fake, more to the point. Not just false, fake, when they've literally gone out and to deceive you. Yeah. So I do get it that even as you said, your students, and they can't quite come out. Or sorry, did you say professors of your students?
Yeah, they're teachers.
Yeah, they're teachers. Yeah.
I asked them, bring them over. Let's talk about this, but their teachers don't want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, it's a big one to grasp, isn't it? Because when you realize the Earth is flat, then everything is just so. It means everything else. Not everything is a lie, but anyone involved in that industry, and if you're a teacher, were you teaching lies to people? That's hard to accept as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think more people, like I work for myself, independently, so I don't have to answer to anybody. Yeah, so I can just say what I want to say, And there is a lady here, a Japanese lady. She owns a restaurant, and a couple of weeks ago, some of my friends were there, and she was saying like, "Oh, the Earth is flat. The Earth is flat." And the people asked, "Oh, are you talking to Eddie? Because he is the one who's been talking about flat Earth." I said, "No, anybody can tell Earth is flat. You don't need to talk to anybody." She said that she doesn't need to watch videos on YouTube. She can tell Earth is flat.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And some people can do. My sister did that. I remember telling my sister the Earth's flat. And we were outside at the time. She looked up, it was daylight. She went, yeah, the sky does look like a dome. And it's just like, really? It took me months to get to that point. But it depends on ego. It depends on a lot of things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And, you don't need to do all the, a lot of people know the Earth's flat, but they haven't done all the extensive research, understanding pressure, understanding, flights and, emergency flights, which is I'd like to have a chat to you about that because I've been reading through your book as well, which is, excellent. And you did come to Australia as well, 1988.
No, I went to New Zealand. I didn't go to Australia. Yeah, I went to
It
New
was a
Zealand.
bicentennial. Sorry,
But there was the Brazilian soccer team. They went to
Okay.
that's good that you're talking about that stuff, because recently there was another flight from Brazil to. Let me share my screen real quick.
Yeah, cool.
That was the first time the Brazilian soccer team went to Australia, and that was a charter flight, and they had to stop in LA, right? And just recently,
Yes.
this was like the Women's World Cup in Australia was like last month or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. The team left Brazil, and because now the U.S. require transit visas, they avoided landing in LA, so
And they
they
went
went
to
to Tahiti
Really?
and Sydney. That was a charter flight, man. That's not like, why don't they just fly
I don't.
here? You know, no way. They had to go to Tahiti and then Sydney.
And if you just
And
if you just go to the bowl image, the spherical one,
right
just
here.
show me. Yeah, okay. Because if anyone says, "Oh, it's because of that I want to travel over water," well, they're going even over
They do it
greater distance
regardless.
of water on this one, aren't they?
Yeah, to go to Tahiti is the same thing, thousands of miles over the water.
And it plots over a Gleason map as well, using that same, that they went to an island and they then went to this other trajectory to Sydney. Did Brazil win the soccer? By the way, I can't remember who won.
See, the problem is really, since I became a flat earther, I don't care about soccer anymore. For me, now I was an aficionado. I was crazy about soccer.
Right. It gets like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
I don't care anymore because it's all a distraction. It's just distraction.
It is, and it's we do know, like everything, is there's an element of rigged now as well, isn't it? When betting gets in, when they introduce betting into the mix, then there's going to be shenanigans. Let's just say that. But that's absolutely fascinating. And they went Brazil, Tahiti, Sydney. Oh, that was there on the way there or on the way back, or they did this
on way to Sydney.
On the way to right.
So now in 1988, at the time of the Bicentennial Cup, that time I was a big soccer fan. I went to the airport. I used to work there, So I went there to see the soccer players to go into Australia. And the whole time I thought they were flying over, from the bottom, and they went to LA. And the Argentinian team did the same thing from Buenos Aires to LA to Sydney. So,
technically you guys are down under as well. In Brazil, it's down under. Not just Australia.
On the ball.
Classified down. Yeah, on a ball. Yeah. That is fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
And it's all the time. And it's not just once. And that's the good thing about your book. You've outlined, so many instances, and you still are. So this is a new one, obviously, well after your books.
Yeah. This is after my book.
Yeah.
So another one that I want to hold on. I'm going to play this in just a second, but highlighting my book again. So this is a flight that happened in 2019. Also was after I wrote my book. Alan Joyce from Qantas, he flew from Australia to New York to fly back. It was a direct flight, 18 hours, 18 hours, okay? So the night before the flight, they released the flight plans. And you can see here all the waypoints, all right? You see Hawaii, how they fly north of Hawaii.
Right.
That was the night before the flight, okay? And then once they flew, they showed something like this, similar to this. Hawaii is over here.
Okay.
They flew like if they had flown south of Hawaii.
Right.
Okay. But back, that was before I wrote my book. There was a pilot. His channel is 52C53. He made like a whole bunch of stuff how flights from Sydney to Australia to North America fly this route. Okay. And then I asked him a couple questions about emergency landings. I said, well, what if you fly according to them? They fly over Mexico to go to New York, to go to
Mm.
Houston.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But why, when you are planning an emergency, why you have to plan over San Francisco or LA? Why don't you land in Mexico City ever? You know, they don't fly over Mexico, you know, like in real life. In real
So,
life,
so
this
would
I
you
have
say,
that in my book.
right? Would you say which one is the correct flight path that they took? The first one that you showed me?
Right here, yeah, north,
Yeah.
always north of Hawaii.
Okay. Always
Always
north of it.
north,
Okay.
always north. They never fly south of Hawaii.
And
Okay.
they're crossing the equator all the time, aren't they?
Oh, they
In,
do, they do, they
aren't
do,
they?
they do. But the problem is when they advertise, Billy, they show this stuff here. Okay. This is Qantas flights to Dallas. This is United flights
Oh yeah, I see.
to Houston. This is their in their advertisement. All right. Always way south of Hawaii.
Mm.
But it's pretty weird. Like this is the
But if you go
official
back to the one with Alan Joyce's part, the one that's
right
this one.
here.
Yeah.
It's
So
always north of Hawaii.
this is actual the actual path you're saying, or is
Yes,
it?
they fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not on this projection. You go
Okay.
back to this projection here, which the
Sure.
flat
Thank
Earth
you.
map.
Thank you.
Okay, that's explain why you fly always north of Hawaii.
All right.
So I try to track
Got you.
some
And that's that line
Mexicans.
there. Got you.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I try to track some Mexicans living in Australia, and then how do they fly to Mexico City? Well, they fly via Vancouver, via San Francisco, via LA. They never fly like south of Hawaii, you know. They never like land in Hawaii and then Mexico City,
And the
like you
straight
should have in the global.
and the straight line paths, aren't they? You
Yeah,
know,
pretty
as the
much.
crow would fly, just straight through.
Yeah,
No curve, just straight line, just like you feel when you're on a plane. You don't, yeah.
exactly. No curvature, no adjustments for curvature or anything. And a couple other flights that I did highlight in my book. This is one of my favorite ones. This was a flight from New York to Hawaii. Okay, so right here they had an emergency, right? But they landed in Seattle, which makes no sense at all. Okay, right here. That's the flight route according to flight 24, something like that, flight route 24. And then they had an emergency, and then they suddenly landed in Seattle, okay, Washington State. And when you plot that on the flat
Okay.
Earth map, that's why they, you know, that's the flight route right
They
there,
were going straight across. Yeah, and go back to the ball projection,
right
this
here.
one,
That would be this one here.
because there would have been plenty of other airport, or sorry, you know, even Las
Oh,
Vegas would have a hospital right there. You don't need
exactly,
to go
man.
all the way up, you know, through Idaho, you know, past all the, you know, I never heard
They
of
had Salt Lake
towns.
City here, which is a big airport, Salt Lake
Okay,
City,
there you go.
you know, or Las Vegas right here.
Exactly. Okay, so
Anywhere,
behind that arrow is Salt Lake City, which is a huge, that would
yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah.
hospital. There's plenty of hospitals.
San Diego, Los Angeles right here, a lot
That's
of
a beauty.
options.
That's a beauty, that
And
one, isn't it? Just even locally, it has an effect, not just
yeah,
internationally.
exactly. And then that's what I always say, you never know where exactly these planes are flying unless you have an emergency landing. That's when you know.
True.
You cannot follow those flight trackers because this is just an animation. It's a simulation on a ball. Okay? It's not where the airplane is. It's
Yeah.
a simulation. So the airplane was not flying over here. That's the thing here. Going back to this Alan Joyce's flight. Why would they fly in the same latitude right here for 5 hours, and then suddenly, why don't they just go this way right here?
Straight through. Yeah.
Because when you look at the flat Earth map, you will understand that you have to fly around the 45th, right here, the latitude right here, for about almost 5 hours.
Oh, yeah, I see.
See here,
You're almost
see
hugging
here,
that.
45.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha.
So they fly along this latitude line
Yeah,
for
yeah.
almost 5 hours.
Right. Look at that.
And then they start crossing the latitudes to go towards as
Gotcha.
the circle gets.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
That's the way it
awesome.
is.
Oh
So
my God, it's so good when
emergency
you
land, emergency lands, man, tells you exactly where the planes are. And now you see all the ones that I highlight in my book uh, in Russia. Got a couple of them in Russia.
that is fascinating. And you know what? It's so great having you explain it like that. To me
Uh,
personally, it's just I feel privileged. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. I mean, I did work with airlines doing with flight routes actually, and I never had the chance of having a Gleason's map. I wish I had 30 years ago when I worked for the
Wow.
airlines.
Yeah.
We only had the Mercator map at the back time. I didn't have this map with me. I wish I had, man. I would have
Wow.
been a flat earther for 30 something years.
And what did you think when you first saw the Gleason map? Did it just the penny drop straight away, or did you have
And
to?
straight
Did you
away, man.
struggle?
That that,
It
that
did.
first
Yeah.
that first one here in my book,
My
the
God.
1988.
Every cell in your body must have been freaking out at that time. Your hair would have just been
Yeah, yeah,
standing on
man.
end. Yeah.
This one here. Let me share my screen again. That's why I posted in my book right there, the very first one, because when I saw the Gleason's map, I connected the dots on this Australia, South
Gotcha.
America, Australia flight,
Straight
the
away. Yeah.
bicentennial cup, because I was at the airport. I saw the players.
And that one there is huge. Like, look at the discrepancy from like you're traveling, they're doing twice the distance to go that way
Yeah,
on a
yeah, yeah,
boat.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
it's all about fuel efficiency. Well, that doesn't look very fuel efficient, especially when they could go straight across if it was a ball, hug
right,
that um that latitudinal line and get to your destination.
right.
And
And
they could deviate to a lot of they could deviate if they had an emergency landing, but there's no reason for them to add twice the distance and twice the danger effectively, aren't they?
exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's just unreal. So when you saw the Gleason map, it just blew you away. It just like, yeah,
immediately,
I
man.
could just imagine. Yeah. See, I still resisted. I was like, oh, why is Australia so big? And, just like, yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
why. I was very difficult. Yeah. Took
yeah,
me because
man.
I
I
had to,
look.
I had to know everything. And then I got to a point where you realize you're not going to know everything. And that was a big thing for me as well. Because as a business person, you like to control, you think you can control every aspect of it, or mostly. And most of the things you are implementing or researching or whatever. But then this just, how do we know everything on this earth? We won't. Only the Most High, the Creator, can know everything because He created it. True.
Right.
And we don't have the privilege. I don't think God ever wanted us to fully discover the workings of his model. Just like if you developed a game, do you want everyone to know exactly how that works? No. And I'm not comparing, God creation to a game in any manner, because I hate people that now they'll easily swallow the simulation theory. Have you seen those people? They go,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you say the Earth's flat, they'll freaking have a fit. And then if you say simulation theory, oh yeah, it's quite possible that this is just a computer game. It's like, really? You just threw away your ball model just like that for a simulation, but you won't accept what your eyes see in this motionless Earth that is physical, from what I can tell,
Right. Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. You're telling me that this pen is just nothing, and it's like, I never got that as well. I think, all of that is another rabbit hole that you could dive down in each person on their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt you again. I always do that.
Now, the other thing I want to show you, Billy, that we just talked about, this is, you may think that this is like a real thing, but those are toys, okay? So see how easy it is to fool the mind,
To deceive.
okay?
Yeah.
These men, these are all toys. They are like RC models, but you'll go back, for example, this is when they made the first movie shot. What's the name of the Tom Cruise movie? Top Gun.
Mission
Top Gun.
Impossible. Top
Top
Gun.
Gun.
Okay. Yep.
Top Gun. So see how the models they used, like the airplanes here, they were not even real, and we
Incredible,
think
aren't they?
they are real stuff.
Yeah, I've seen, detailed models of the Concorde air jet, and it's only, the size, twice the size of a car. But if you
Right,
saw
right,
it,
right.
you've seen them, and they sound the same, so they can look at this. This is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
And, Hollywood can do it, but NASA can't do this, right? For some reason.
Yeah. I mean, NASA is just Hollywood, it's just the same thing, just a different name.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look
So
at Werner von Braun, he suspiciously, worked with, in the movie industry and was trained and, for 2 or 3 years, I believe. So what did he learn right before he went to continue on to NASA? He learned all of this trickery. That's what they learned, how to fool the mind. And not only with this, but psychology as well, because psychology plays a huge part in this. And back then it was the Cold War, there was Russia, there was all this, wasn't it? People were in fear. They were hiding under their desks to try and save themselves. So they put people in a real state of mind where what you're showing now, they could have easily used any type of model,
like the Japanese here, they have Godzilla destroying Tokyo. But Tokyo it's a room. They make everything so perfect, man. The Tokyo there, you see, it looks like Tokyo for real. It's not. It's just a mock-up.
Incredible, yeah. And they'll have dams bursting, and it looks real, doesn't it? To the eye. And because you leave yourself open when you're watching a movie or something, you actually will accept all of this for some reason. And I think that's happened in reality, that people have just allowed themselves to accept things without question. And that's been that's been probably the ultimate reason why they're just so in this trance about the world. But you know what? Interesting enough, on Twitter, I've been going on Twitter quite a bit because they're sort of allowing a bit more free speech and discussion than what some of the other social networking platforms are. But there's a lot of polls that people are doing, and just even random channels. They've got 100,000 or 200,000 people on their channel, but they'll just ask, and they're not flat earthers or anything, or they'll go, is the earth flat? Is it a globe? And 60-70% of people are saying flat earth. And these people are left in shock, and sometimes they're deleting the poll altogether, going, that's not how I wanted it to go, right? So there's a big, I think I mentioned this on with Eric Debay, that there's the tipping point is coming, and there's a huge shift, right? I think, and look, it's easy for people to do that online, just go and just, no one's going to know what I voted there, right? I'll speak the truth. But when you, as you said, you're a teacher, you're a professional that is going to affect you if you come out, then you may just not, tell exactly what you think. Yeah. So.
Yeah, gotta hide. All right, Billy, I'm gonna run Vika Draziv's trailer here for his new documentary. Okay.
Yeah,
it's 4 minutes long, so if you want to have a short break, all right? So cool. Go ahead and run this.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I love this. I'm looking forward to this too. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to play this trailer.
"2,000 years ago, a shipwreck created a time capsule. Hidden beneath the waves, untouched by time. The secrets it held would challenge our understanding of the past and reveal the incredible ingenuity of our ancestors. Journey with us as we dive into the depths of history. uncovering the enigmatic ancient marvel that defies the limits of its time. Rediscovered a century ago by another shipwreck, nature seemed to guard its secrets, preserving a device that would rewrite our understanding of ancient technology. The mechanical realm beckons us to unlock its mysteries. Through history, archaeology, astrophysics, and astronomy, we embark on a quest to decipher the intricate workings of the past. The pieces of the puzzle come together as we explore the convergence of art, science, and philosophy. A true masterpiece of craftsmanship, gives us a glimpse into the minds of ancient engineers and their quest to understand the cosmos.
Testament to the importance of astronomy in ancient Greek culture, reflecting the desire of Greek astronomers and mathematicians to understand the workings of the cosmos.
A lot of these scientists, pseudoscientists, because they have a lot of claims with very little evidence, if any, especially when it comes to the shape of the Earth and with astronomy and what we see in the sky. A lot of what we see, what we observe in this realm, contradicts what we were taught to believe by these scientists.
The geocentric stationary Earth model, common knowledge that the Earth was stationary and located at the center of the universe, with the sun, moon, and luminaries moving around it. His circular path around the Earth was widely accepted by philosophers, astronomers, and other scholars.
And realizations would come to them. This subtle science process is possible today as well, but so few endeavor to achieve this. Few are even aware of these timeless, subtle sciences, which are far more profound than today's solely materialistic sciences.
Scientific literature is clear on the fact that several psychological rhythms and collective behaviors are not only synchronized within the solar and geomagnetic activity, but also destruction in these fields can create adverse effects on human health and behavior.
This body is a combination of all these sides together in one device, working in perfection, reflecting the movement, the only movement about to a geocentric stationary platform.
Prepare for an extraordinary journey where hidden truths come to light. The secrets of the mechanical realm will redefine our perception of history and reshape our appreciation of the past and shape of our Earth. Get ready to witness the unveiling of the extraordinary, a geocentric stationary flat Earth working model that has defied the passage of time. The mechanical realm awaits you.
Alright guys, for y'all who want to watch the movie, I just pasted the link on the chat now, the Mechanical Realm, or you'll go to Vika Draziv's YouTube channel and you can find out how to watch or download the movie. It's gonna be on YouTube in a couple of weeks, but right now they are only displaying the movie in this website. Another thing I want to tell my subscribers, if you want to support the channel, visit my Flat Earth Bungee store. I can get a couple of items. Just got my beautiful blue restored and enhanced Gleason's map from this store. Okay, it took me like 4 weeks to get it because I'm in Japan. All right, welcome back, Billy.
Thank you, Eddie. Great to be back. And Vika's documentary is going to be awesome. Can't wait to see it. I've taken a note, and you can purchase it now on his website. Is that right? So you can download it and watch it before it's launched on YouTube, which I'll be doing because I want to support Vika. Vika's been, just a massive, artillery for us in the community, hasn't he? In the truth community, and what I can't wait to see is and find out more about the Antarctica mechanism, which is I see it's the documentary is focused around the Antarctica device that was found about 100 and something years ago which they didn't know what it was. And then, you know, advancements and now, you know, X-ray and all this stuff, they've been able to decipher that this thing was a clock, and it could, you know, people say, well, you know, where's your flat Earth model? There it is, because they were able to decipher the positions of the luminaries for thousands of years, and with you know, with precision that I believe that they still model. The heliocentric model uses a lot of that as well. So yeah, I can't wait for Vickers' documentary to, you know, just hit the masses again, because he does a good job at he's good at what he does, and you know, the next one's going to be even better, because, you know, I believe when you do, you just get better and better at things, don't you? So I could just imagine where he's going to be in 10 years' time, you know. So thank you, Vicar. You're a champion.
Shout out to you, Vicar. Yeah, I don't know what time it is in Spain right now. So today's show, guys, it's a different time because I wanted to adapt the timing to work schedule of Billy Zig. So about almost 6 o'clock p.m., 6 p.m. now.
It's 4 p.m. for me now, so we're about 2 hours. Yeah, 4 p.m. for me. Yeah, so thank you for allowing me that. Yeah, I just had a, you know, just the daily task for, you know, running a business and that. But, yeah, but, you know, there's always time to have a discussion with people like you, because I just love learning, and I love learning. You know, when you think you've learned everything about, as I say before, there's how do you know everything? But there's always something new to learn when you've opened your eyes to this new reality, right? And it's yeah, just every day is fascinating.
So Billy, I'm right here in Japan. Where are you?
I'm in Melbourne.
Melbourne?
Right down at the bottom there.
Right here. Okay, I see.
Very close to that big ice wall, which I'm gonna go there one day. But I hate the cold, so I don't think I'd ever go. And you know, I published a book, and my book is about a guy who, it's a fictional novel, but it's about a guy who sets up a plan to go out that way. And you know, I think, you know, everyone says, let's get on a ship, let's you know, explore. But you know, there's a lot of danger in doing that as well. So you know, there's in sending humans out to the unknown. So what was that age verification on my book? That's nice, isn't it?
Isn't that weird? 18, I had to prove I'm 18.
Oh my God, and they put it as an adult book. Right, that's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you know, they make it difficult for people to access this stuff, you know.
Oh, they do, yeah. And even when the book first came out, you know, there were people leaving negative reviews, even though they hadn't read it. And you know, things sort itself out over time, though. But that's amazing. That was an age verification, because you should be over 18 to learn about, you know, like, yeah, that's just mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm surprised with this too.
Yeah, just unreal. I wonder what else they, you know, do that to.
So
because I'm sure they allow all sorts of nasty content on their platform, but yeah, you know, teaching kids how to do X, Y, Z. Let's not go into that one, but that's a bit of a trip.
It is. You know, like the problem is Globers, they play dirty, you know. I mean, it's terrible dealing with them, because they just, some of them are evil people, you know. Some of them are just liars and evil.
Yeah, I truly believe that to be the case, and I think, you know, they've got bad, you know, maybe they don't have a soul whatsoever, but they've just got really bad intent when it comes to their daily activities. And I don't know how anyone can live like that, because imagine getting up every day and I've got to go and, you know, to Eddie's channel and Billy's channel and Dave and every, you know, Aviation and everyone's channel, quickly, you know, see what they're doing and what are they saying now about flat Earth. Well, imagine living that life. That'd be daunting. I can't imagine myself doing that. You know, for anything I don't believe, something I don't believe in. Like, so what are they doing? And then they set up things like fight the flat. What do you mean? You're fighting the flat Earth? Like, are you
fight the flat Earth?
It's just ridiculous, ridiculous. So they're making more money out of, you know, what we're doing, and we're being creative, and we've, you know, spent time and research and doing all this, and these guys are over, you know. Yeah, so anyway, you've got to let that go as well. I think, yeah, look at that comment, pray for the enemy. And you do. You've got to eventually, I remember it used to really weigh on me when I published my book, and people would leave that review and You know, there'd be channels that literally would make, you know, do a video on me and then go send in bad reviews. And no matter what I do with Amazon, I can't get rid of them, even though they can see they're not verified purchases. But yeah, that's just nasty. Imagine doing that as a living, and that's what they do. So yeah, look, I don't think that's getting them anywhere, because even people, when they see interviews, even with that Not a Professor Dave guy, a lot of people, he's created more flat earthers than anyone. Yeah, you know, because of just the way they approach it as well. Like, it's very, it's nasty. And you know, my point was that it used to weigh on me with all these things. And I remember my wife said, just let it go. So what? Things will sort themselves out. And they do. Doesn't the truth have a way of working itself out? Dalu, he's a great guy. And look what he sent me, this gentleman. Can I give him a quick plug?
Yeah.
He created this coin, which is a flat Earth coin, which is made of nickel or zinc. It's like this side. That's really beautiful. Cool too. It's got like an astrolabe on it, and I think I'm holding it upside down.
Astrolabe, yeah.
Yeah, and it says like the sky's the limit at the top, and yeah, flat Earth map, and you can easily just have that in your pocket, and you know.
That's beautiful, man.
It's really cool, yeah.
Hey,
so yeah, that's from Dalu, and he's got a channel. He's got I think it's flatearthcoins.com.
Okay, so I'll drop a link. I'll see if I can get me one of those. It's beautiful. I liked it. I drop a link in the chat, okay, Dalu? Before bedtime. Is he in the US?
He's in the US, that's right, yes.
Okay. All right.
Gee, he'd be up pretty late as well.
All right.
Yeah, we end up burning the midnight candle. How about you? What are you working on, Eddie? Are you doing a part 2 on your book? Are you?
Yeah, so several times I thought about maybe making either a second edition of this or a second one, because more, you know, we have had more flights, more interesting stories. Especially, I was going to show you this right here.
I think that would be really good, and you know, double it, go 32 proofs.
Yeah.
Or even
you can add 10 more.
You could, couldn't you? Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'd love to help you if you need any help with any of your future books. If you need editorial or just advice, and even getting your books on other platforms. Have you tried Ingram Spark?
No, I haven't tried any of those.
Because it might be more beneficial for you to do that, and then you can get it into libraries once you do that. Imagine your book going into libraries worldwide, So there's a lot of scope for the future. Stay positive, Eddie, and I'd love to, maybe we can have a chat sometime, and I'll show you some of the things that I'm finding as well, because that's what I'd like to do. I'd love to get my book in libraries, and all you have to do actually to get Eddie's book into a library is go to your library and ask them to demand that they bring it in. So not demand it, but request them to purchase the book, and that would be great. Then you can get Eddie's book everywhere.
That would be great. There are a couple of translations there, like people translating to Russian, Slovenian, I think Hungarian, Polish, Japanese. I know we have a version in Japanese already.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's out there. So there are a couple more flights. The sky's the limit, right? So there was that Paling guy, the British Paling. He wanted to go to Antarctica. He went to Cape Town. He thought he could just take a boat from there or fly. So he had to go back to South America. To go back, he had to go back to London and then fly to Rio, then to Santiago, and then he went to the so-called South Pole. The ceremonial South Pole.
And this is.
It's a British guy, Michael Palin.
Right. Because
he made a documentary back in the 90s.
Sure.
I shout out to David J. Carroll. He sent me the lead on this one here.
Right.
And I took a look. Awesome. So there are a couple more flights that I eventually thought about it, but really, to tell you the truth, I love doing flat earth work. But it's not something that I can live on. I do have my own business, and I need to focus a little bit more on my business, because in situations like this that's happening with my family in Brazil, and I always live comfortably here with my wife and my 2 daughters. But now that I have some more weight on my shoulders to carry, I need to focus more on my business, and and that's how I gotta make. But this, I don't make money on this. I make
I know.
$7 per book, so I would have to sell thousands and thousands of books just to get like 7 grand, and you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I do understand it. Yeah, yeah,
you
definitely.
know. But
You know,
it's good to have it out there. People can look and realize stuff like, oh my God, I took that flight. Now it makes sense now comparing on the flat Earth map, you know. But
and,
as
and I'm
far
sure,
as
and I'm
go
sure
ahead.
you've set yourself you've set yourself up as an authority on this, if you like, when it comes to the flight route. So eventually, people will be sending you more and more information. You're the go-to guy. So I'd imagine that eventually, you can maybe expand on the book, or yeah, just get more information in there. But yeah, because as you said, the emergency flights really, pick apart their lives, don't they? They can't get out of it with that one. Like you pointed out, even the one flying over America, they've gone and deviated to a non logical path, which was,
Right,
yeah, just no sense
Seattle.
of. Yeah, exactly, and that's awesome. I wonder whether or how many of them have occurred in Australia, and because I'm sure we have. And interesting
Oh
enough,
yeah,
that guy went to the South Pole because we've got the last government who, we've got Labor and Liberal here, the two sides of the same, two wings of the same bird. But the previous government, when they got into power, they got elected. There was a guy named Josh Frydenberg. I think he became the deputy prime minister, second in charge, or was he in charge of the cash or some shit? I can't remember. But the next day after he got anointed, not knighted. What do? They bring him in as they bring him in the government. He went to Antarctica the next day, and he flew
wow,
back in the same day. I wonder why. Why would you do that? Apparently, he holds some sort of record of going from Australia to Antarctica and back on the same day. But I'd like to track that on a ball and how, But not only track it on a ball, but why would you, when you get into this new position of power, go, the first thing you think of, I'm going to Antarctica. What's there? And I think the Pope did that as well. When the Pope got
the
elected,
Pope,
the Pope, a lot of them, they go
yeah,
to Antarctica. Is
they
it where they
go.
get their blessings from the, higher power over there? I'm not even sure. But I believe
Yeah,
is there more land? The way I did my book, because my book is about a guy, Max Carter, who believes there's more land on Earth. He's about flat Earth, and he sees the Japanese map, the map, and he goes, wow, and he sets a plan to go and find it. But he purchases a what's called a high altitude pseudo satellite, which they call HAPS. And you've probably seen those huge planes with solar panels, and they
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
fly for months on end. And he believes that's the safest way to explore without putting anyone in danger, flying out that way. And his idea is, well, it can either do three things. It can either go around the ball and come back, so he proves it's a ball. It can either go out and find more land, or it crashes into the dome. And that's what, to me, that's what are the options. So, because I do believe we live under a firmament, and the more like anyone that dives into this topic, you become more open to the Bible, and not only the Bible, but just, creation, and just all the books talk about a firmament. Even the Aboriginal Australians talk about, which is quite remarkable, they talk about two brothers at each ends of the earth holding up the firmament. How did they do, when there was no contact between, they didn't even have the Bible in Australia, the Aboriginals. Yeah, apparently they've been around for 60,000 years, which I don't believe that narrative anyway. But how did they all, and the Mayans had the similar concept about this, this firmament above us, which is quite fascinating because, and I've heard you talk about this as well, because a ceiling, the strongest structure for a ceiling is a dome, isn't it? That's when you have everything pressing against each other and creating this solid environment. A ceiling would require pillars or columns along the way to hold it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just fascinating, and that's where it leads to. You start. Look, anything that gets you away from believing you're a monkey on a spinning ball, right? Because that's just crazy thinking, and I can see why the world is in such disarray at the moment. You've got people believing they don't trust their own senses. They're putting that into an authority to tell them, a scientific authority or the government authority to tell them what to believe. And I pray for the world. Pray for the evil ones too. Whoever made that comment is so good, because a lot of evil occurring right now, even overseas, and quite devastating. I don't know if you want to talk about that. Maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I pray for the people.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, we can't talk about that stuff that's going on, but some people, I mean, we can try. We can try. Some of them will not listen to us.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. You can try and tell them, but if they, eventually you just got to go, well, I'm not going to destroy, family relationships or friends, relationships with friends because of this. I warned you. We showed you this. Look, Look, a lot of people now, after they've got, buyer's regret. But, I was more referring to even what's happening in the Middle East right now, with Palestine and Israel. It's just, I'm seeing people, say, just wipe out, flatten them, like a, they're literally flatten them like a car park. They're saying the whole, like, how can people think like that? 1 minute you should be, you're godly, you're good, and now you're saying kill everyone. I just don't. It doesn't reconcile, whatsoever. Yeah, we're gonna pray that someone gets a. When I was younger, situations like that, there would be peace talks, but there's never talk of peace anymore, is there? It's just straight out war, and same with the Ukrainian stuff that went on. I never saw any leaders around the world go, hey, let's settle this. Let's solve this problem. Yeah, it was all about funding and just war, and but that's the machine that we live under, isn't it? This military machine, and that machine as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's that's why I like the way the RV interprets things, how things are, the duality stuff. They always resort to the thing that we should consider the last one, which is war. They bring it to the forefront. That's the first option. The thing that we should consider, like eating healthy stuff. No, they bring this stuff first. I mean, always the opposite.
It's the opposite, isn't it? Yeah, they've inverted everything. Everything good as they've turned to bad, and everything bad is good, and they've been doing that for quite some time. But I don't know. Flat Earth gives me some hope though, because once you wake up to that, you not only are waking up to the reality of where you live, that we're not on a ball. You wake up to a lot of these other topics as well, so they'll never get you again. And that's it's one of those, it's almost like when you're a kid and you wake up to Santa Claus, and then you wake up to the Easter Bunny as well, and you wake up to a lot of the any other tooth fairy and all of that stuff, don't you? So and this is an adult version of that. And if people can get past this one, that they have been deceived, they have been lied to, there is a higher power that, for whatever reason, is it because they want to lie? Is it because they want to keep lying to us, or is it because the people can't handle the truth? Because they've probably done their studies, and imagine if they've probably done their studies on what would happen if they came out and said, hey, the Earth's flat. People would lose their mind, wouldn't they? What would happen? Would they lose their mind, or society just be different? Because people, I know, you become different when you're a flat earth. It's not all about money. It's not about it, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we would have to replace everything, all those politicians, replace with people, different people. Let's interpret the life different from now on.
Yeah.
One thing I always point out, we should abolish the United Nations right away.
I
You know?
absolutely agree. Absolutely. And we should, start taxing big companies appropriately as well. Not allow them to move into some, Google can go wherever they want, and then, they only pay 1% tax, or they pay less than
Yeah,
the average worker does in tax every year. If you track a lot
yeah.
of these big companies, that's
They
preposterous.
benefit with this globe illusion. They benefit a lot, so they
They
should.
do, don't they? Yeah.
They do.
And it's funny, because I'm 53, but I remember, I'm old enough to remember when even the whole global thing came in. We set up a company. It's going to be global. I was like, global? Oh, right. And that wasn't around before. You know what I mean? The globe thing. What that whole companies are now global. Hear the news. Oh, this is occurring globally, and the word globally has been thrown in more often, hasn't it, over the years? That's what I
Yeah,
believe anyway.
yeah,
Yeah. It wasn't used that much before. And now companies can be global. This, viral thing went global, and they love throwing that word in, don't they?
yeah.
Yeah, but we could win. I reckon we're going to, Eddie. I reckon, Flat Earth's putting up, and truthers in general are putting up a massive resistance against this elite. I don't like to call them elites because they're not elite. They're just, this dark force, if you like,
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
But I think if everybody knew, if there was like some sort of a miracle and everybody realized Earth is flat, I think countries would be taking care of their own, like
yeah,
not this globalization stuff. Let's just
so
take care.
true.
Let's
So
Japan
true.
take care of Japan, China take care of China.
Yeah.
That's how I'd see.
Well said, because look at America. It's sending all this money to Ukraine while its people are, not it, but everyone. But I've seen videos of people like homelessness in America. It's like, I've never seen that in my life. It's like, is this actually America I'm looking at? It's like Los Angeles and all the California and all these cities but if they looked after their own, as you said, which is, what you do first, you look after in a family situation, don't you? You look after your own first. And, now we're just, it's just, money laundering, isn't it? That's what it is,
It's about money
massive
laundering.
case of that. Yeah. But yeah, no, but on the positive side of things, I'd reckon that, they're coming undone, and now because even, if whatever they do, like even when they do, go into space, or India went to the moon, people are not believing it. They're losing, are they? Here's this photo, 400 million miles away. People are like, yeah. And I read the comments on a lot of these because you get a lot of people like, wow. But you get a lot of people going, yeah, right. Who took that photo? Or how can you see so far? And, so.
Yeah, a lot of people are waking up because they became lazy,
Yeah.
They just do anything. Oh, they will believe it, but it's not like that.
Let's put out a photo and the moon passing it, and we won't make the clouds change. Someone did a video on it. It was like, this guy, it was adamant. Look how the clouds have moved. And he actually, morphed it some way that they did move minusculely over that period, but not enough for a whole day, So I give him credit. He went to a lot of work. Ole, I think his name was. And, but, I thought he was I thought he was one of those guys that you could have a proper, but a lot of them, as you said, they're nasty and they come after you and you're just like, okay, I'm not going to battle with you. I just don't have time to battle everyone. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's better sometimes to spend time talking to like-minded people. And I have them all day, like right now I'm using my phone as my camera. I got messages from people who are flat earthers, like, hey, how about this? How about that? So it's much nicer for us, I mean, I there was a time I used to reply to lots of Globers emails. I just don't do it anymore, I mean, it doesn't do it.
No, and you can tell when people are being genuine to when they're, being snide and they're attacking you and they're, you can tell you need to be able to discern the difference. That's very important to go, not spending time with that guy. I'd rather spend time with this person who's asking me a real question. And I will dig down and find that actual video if you want for that person, but don't waste your time on the negativity, because that's not good for us, just, for our aura and just for our being at all. So, it's good. So you say Japan is growing in flat earthers are growing, as you said, the lady down the street.
Yeah. We had some problems here. We were doing great, and then we had a lady. She's a paid shield, very well produced, making lots of well produced videos. She was pushing the moon map stuff, and then the problem is, Billy, Japan. We only have 1% Christians here. Okay, so we used to go to flat earth meetups, like 4 or 5 Christians, me and 4 and 30 Buddhists, and it was always nice. But this lady, she came along and then she started criticizing the Bible, and then it was terrible, man. And then the whole group broke apart.
Divide and conquer, as they say. Yeah, right.
So I mean, we're still trying to do like the Christian. See, Billy, the problem is like I work with anybody, I don't mind if you have a different belief. Let's spread this truth,
Likewise.
But most of the time, these other groups, they start attacking the Bible or Christianity, and then you should be facing the enemy, the globers, the globalists, not us, because we are fighting this war together.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I see what you mean, because when, like I could go and do a post today, and I'm going to do it after we get off the show. I'm going to go on Facebook and on Twitter, and I'll make a post on, relating flat earth to, reality of what the Bible says. And then even a lot of truth has come out and, you can't say that the Bible's bullshit. It's like, hang on a sec. I can pick up any page of the Bible, good book over here, and it'll teach me something, whether it's on the first page or any page. And sometimes, just I don't know how this happens, but synchronicity maybe that I'll turn it to a page just relative to my moment. Like, how does that work? And that's happened heaps of times. So they can't go discarding something. Why? And even Eric DeBay believes in creator, and I know he doesn't believe in G, but he'll believe in parts of the Bible. He's, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go throwing everything out, and that's like, it's so true. And I think that, I don't know, the moon map doesn't do it for me, to be honest. I don't know. Yeah, I need more evidence than just the.
I looked at that map. I looked at precisely the countries, the continents, how the emergency lanes would work on that map. It doesn't work at all. The coordinate system don't work at all. So I mean, to me, it's just like it's garbage for me,
And it kind of assumes a model where, now the sun is going on this part of this map, and eventually it's going to go over here on the other side, and these lands now are getting the sun, while Earth and all its inhabitants on this part just die and freeze, like in
exactly.
Yeah, just and that's the cycle of the 24,600 years.
Yeah.
Whatever cycle. It's like, no, because our ancient ancestors, have been mapping the stars for thousands of years, and they haven't seen no deviation of Polaris over that time, have they?
So
Polaris at the center of the Earth, pinpointed at the very middle, like a dartboard, the very middle. So how was that not shifted over? And then you'll get them going, but it shifted 0.5, 0.025 degrees over the last 1,000 years. Really? Where's your, don't your equipment have margins of error? Because even any device is going to have at least a 0.5 to 1%, tolerance of some sort. So your tolerance, your shift is below the tolerance now. Yeah, even 2 verniers and 2 micrometers are going to have 2 different readings if the cheap ass. Yeah, so they didn't have the instruments or the means to be able to test where Polaris was exactly 2,000-3,000 years ago. Wouldn't you agree, Eddie? Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah. So no, it hasn't moved, and the moon map going back on that. Well, if that's what someone needs to believe, the Earth is flat, you're just looking in the wrong area. You're looking up again. Look here, man.
Exactly.
Look down here on Earth. This is where this beauty is, not the moon. We will never know what the moon is. I've been like fascinated with the moon for most of my life. Now, all my adult life, go out, and I still, every time it's a full moon, I act like I've never seen it before. I go to my mom, wow, look at the full moon. She looks at me like, yeah, like you do that every time. It's beautiful. We don't know what it is. It's just a a mystery up there. But is it a map of the Earth? Far out.
Yeah. I keep saying this, like a lot of people say, oh,
Moon map is a distraction.
The Gleason's map is this, that. And I say, well, as far as I know, I have traveled Brazil. Bolivia is right here, and Peru is right here. The Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela. Everything seems fine. When I fly here, fly over Puerto Rico, I see the islands here, see Cuba, I see Haiti. I land in Florida, and I travel the U.S. I see other states. So the Gleason's map is 100% correct. You don't look at the sky, how the moon or the sun, and say, "Oh, the map is not right." No, the map is right. What we don't know is how the luminaries work. That's the problem.
Right. That's right. And we don't know, just like the video that you showed with that guy with the dome and the refraction on this part of, if it did have an impact on what we're seeing, and I'd say it would, because if we've got a celestial sphere above us, and that's where the stars are, then our distance from here to this part of the dome to that part is going to change substantially.
They are in a different medium.
Yeah, and there was, documents, that Russian document where these cosmographers, I think they were, and they measured the sun and the influence of the firmament on the sun. And
right.
Looking at the sun, it's not the actual sun you're looking at, as they're saying, exactly like that, fish tank, or the guy spearing a fish, as you said, or my fish tank analogy. Is going to have a big impact, isn't it? But that's why we can't, know what these things are that high, even though NASA says we know how far that is. It's light years away, and it's funny because I once believed in that too. I never really thought otherwise, Eddie. I never had reason, just didn't think they'd lie about that. But now I do see why. I see, even the movies they put out there, like Star Wars, right? They're having the Star Wars, or which Star Wars, not the stars millions of miles away. They're the stars, the angels that were embedded into they had wars, didn't they? They're the true Star Wars. And maybe they want to invoke that again, which is why they're firing stuff up into the firmament, to anger God. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? Like,
provoking.
Isn't it provoking God exactly into fighting back? But he won't do. He doesn't work like that. Fathers don't do that to their children. Yeah, provoke me. I'm more stoic than that, and I've got more long-term vision than a child who doesn't see what they're doing at the time, fighting with God, provoking him. There's a good movie. I think it's Clash of the Titans. I don't watch many movies, but some of I now like. I watched Noah recently as well. It's with Russell Crowe, and that's out like 10 years. But I just wouldn't watch it. But I watched it now, and it's just like fascinating. And then Clash of the Titans. That's another good movie. And there's a scene where the gods are up there, and he's looking down, and the people, he's going, well, why have they forsaken me? And in the other, well, they just don't ask for help, or we don't anymore. We don't. Imagine if the whole world just collectively, believed in creation of some sort. Yeah, we don't have the answers. We don't know how, if it was which story or which translation of that story is true. But if we all just had this synergy that we all just, like even during that time when they were doing, before that, if everyone just united together rather than that divide and conquer, that's how they won that too, didn't they?
Right.
Everyone's arguing with you, and you're right, I'm wrong. Oh no, why would they do that to us? And yeah, but if we all just put that aside and went, hey, and no leader around the world ever did that. No leader during the last 3 years actually went, God help us. Did you ever hear that from any leader? Not at all.
No.
Pfizer help us, right? And the other, whatever. Yeah, but not one of them did that, and that was disturbing to me, because to me, in a time like that, and there's a lot of people who have faith across the world, regardless to what, again, denomination, but just that would have been cool, wouldn't it? Let's all pray if they all did, if they didn't want that, because it wasn't about that. We know what it is, but yeah, I think it's our duty on earth is, if anyone can see what is happening, and what they're doing, it's your duty on earth to speak up now for future generations. And if you don't, right, you're going to regret it, man. That's going to be harder to live with. I believe that's harder to live with than what we're going through copying shit, yeah, from people. Because in the future, man, if you go, there's no turning back. I didn't do anything. I saw that train wreck coming, and I could have waved that the driver down, but I didn't. And that's, you got to really think about, I could have changed that track, and he could have gone that way. Have you seen that analogy? Yeah. And we've got to really speak up. And I see the good thing I'm seeing is a lot of politicians are actually starting to speak up too, because I think they see what we see. I think they see the digital future is going to be, if we thought
slavery forever.
Yeah, if we thought lockdowns were bad, mate, we've seen nothing, right? And I think a lot of politicians see that, and they've got a heart, and maybe they do believe in God and creation, and they do see this spiritual war that's actually occurring. Yeah. Anyway, I'm ranting on.
No, man, I'm so good to hear. So Billy, but on the other hand, man, we are approaching the end because I do have some work to do today.
We always got to, that's the reality of it, isn't it? Yeah, it's been such a pleasure.
I got classes scheduled for later on today.
What can I do to convince you to just, so you're not giving up your shows from, I heard from the one.
No, I'm not going to be having these shows anymore. I wish I had the energy. Mostly energy, to do it. But some days I'm feeling bad.
And then you still got to get out and do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love doing it. But I was on a live stream in Brazil with a show, man. I almost passed out. I don't want to die here, like in front of the camera live. So I'm going to avoid that. I talked to.
You gotta look after yourself. Now look after yourself. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I did. Exchange a couple messages with RV and talk to David Wise as well. So I think I'm going to try to be once in a while, go live like for 30, 40 minutes, but not weekly anymore. Just like I need to concentrate like my Mondays. If I can get some work to do in the morning, I will be working. Say I work with students and we do some visa applications, all that stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
So, for example, an agency here, a tourism agency, a travel agency, they charge like, let's say, $500 for a person to get an American visa. Okay.
Right.
And I can charge $300, and I can make some money, and I can still, because I know how the procedures, and I know everything. I know. I've been doing this for free. I've been helping.
No, you should be getting paid for that. And if you, I'm a website developer, so if you need any help, like setting up a website to promote yourself, I'd be glad to help you. And
okay, So I'm just thinking, like, maybe I do enjoy, man. Sometimes 5-minute videos take 2 hours for me to put it together,
to prepare, and for sure.
Yeah. So I just need to convert this time into making more money. Either by visa applications or teaching classes. I gotta convert this time.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
It's important. You've got to have that to sustain yourself and move forward. And so money doesn't change everything, but it does change things.
A little bit. It does help.
It does. Yeah. I've been in both situations. I prefer to be sitting in a Porsche than on a bike.
Yeah. So, guys, I appreciate you all that have been with us all this time. We have 80 people watching right now, Billy. It's a good amount of people. Normally, we go from 80 to 200, so we always have a good crowd. So we're approaching the end of the show today, and I don't know when I'm going to be back again, like doing weekly shows. I may get back just to talk about random subjects.
A random one? Yep, I look forward to them. Yeah, because your shows have, keep a lot of people going. So, but I do understand you've got, you got to balance. It's a balance thing, isn't it? So
yeah.
Take care of yourself first, and the rest will follow after that. That's
Yeah.
pretty much how it should be. Yeah.
All right. So, Billy, I appreciate you being here, man. I want to say goodbye to your subscribers. There are a couple of people here who are your subscribers.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eddie, for having me today. And thank you for explaining even some of the flat Earth maps. I'm going to be promoting your work and trying to help you wherever I can as well.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for being here one more time. And we don't know when we're going to be back. We will be back eventually, but not weekly anymore. So thanks for everybody who has been on the show. So many people to shout out, like Robert Tuzzi, Adam Horse in Australia, like Gallupini from Italy. He wrote the preface here for my book.
Right.
Great guy, great person. Like I had so many good guys here, so shout out to all of you. And Billy, hang on. Okay, I'm gonna end the show with this song, but hang on in the studio, okay?
Let's do it. Correct.
So
Thank you, thanks once again.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'm going to play Dave J. Carroll, my favorite song, and see you guys sometime in the future. Take care.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratospherius, a scientist curious to see what was there. An aluminium black ball on a helium balloon, hydrogen with photos and instruments, sailed towards the moon, rose in just half an hour. 52,000 feet, 10 miles of dense temperature, left for dead just in heat and cold, but disproving gravity. Wonderful, mystical, beautiful sight, flat line separation of black from blue light, a world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, stealing our light. Up there, divine luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed hid by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing our light. Here we go, higher than Everest, higher than airplanes, above zero, cumulus, higher than air, a level horizon, 360 around us, no motion beneath us, no spinning, no stars on the firmament, when they reach for the stars. Explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard. Never you'll defeat us, forever beneath us. We see through you like air.